know what time it is. You know what time it is. I know we're all excited. You're listening to the All Burgundy and Gold Everything Commanders pregame show. You got the Washington Commanders taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This pregame show is powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole. I'm joined by my homies, Glenn and George. What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. Another day, another big. It seems like every week is a big game for the Washington Commanders, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
Another game, another big week, right, for the Washington Commanders, and I'm ready to go. Steelers in town. I know people hating on us last week, George, because we said Mike Tomlin would have been a great coach here, but it's okay. It's okay. I accept that hate. Dan Quinn is doing a great job.
You was getting hate? What's going on?
No, the people were upset. Like, how could you say that about Dan Quinn when they're 7-2? And it's like, well, Mike Tomlin doesn't have a losing season in 18 seasons, which is not only the record, that's probably going to be the record forever. Yeah. Like, nobody's probably going to do that ever again.
And you can't argue with me if, and I know we're going to get on Candi and I bring Candi in. Yeah. You couldn't tell me if Dan Quinn and Mike Tomlin were both out there, who's getting this job?
Exactly.
This is tough. I mean, who's out there? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, both of them out there at the same time.
I mean,
initially,
let's be real. If Mike Tomlin said tomorrow, okay, this is my last season at Pittsburgh, I'm gonna maybe take a year off, refresh myself, and go somewhere else, would he really have to interview, or would there be 2 or 3 or even 4 teams saying, "Hey, we're giving you this job if you want it"?
True, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I wish I was there for that convo. It would be.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, Michael Underwood didn't like it. Michael Underwood's already taken a shot at us for that.
Let's get to logistics. Let's get logistics out the way. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. And make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel. Hit that red subscribe button. Like this video if you're watching this video. If you're on another platform and if you're on another platform, go over to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel. Hit that red subscribe button real quick. Our pregame is also streaming on the Urban Sports Scene's X handle as well. All right, now here is the rundown. Here's what we have on tap. We'll chat with Bowie TV's Commanders reporter Candi. She'll be joining us live from Northwest Stadium. We'll also talk about the keys for Commanders victory and provide our predictions. Then finally, we'll select our Commanders fantasy football selection for the day. All right, live from Northwest Stadium, we got Bowie TV's Commanders reporter Candi Waller. What's going on, Candi? What's going on, Candi?
Hey, y'all. What's going on?
Welcome.
What is going on with you?
You all are always on time. I was the one that was late. That was late.
Candi, you good. We don't go there. We good. I don't know
we're
what
all
you're
right.
talking about late. We talking about late. I think we was on time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably like on time.
I mean, what you talking about late? I think we were on time. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? As an individual who believes in, like, I'm Nigerian, I'm always supposedly late. Supposedly, I'm always late. I don't even know. My late is different. I don't know. When I'm an hour late, I think I'm on time. So I'm a whole different piece.
So funny.
And before we get this started, man, how's the atmosphere today? How's the atmosphere?
Honestly, full disclosure, I think a lot of people are tailgating. I think a lot of people are having fun tailgating. The stadium right now is still a little empty on all sides. So that lets me know that everybody's outside. So that means they're coming in hot. That means everybody's going to come in hot because the parking lot is full and the game is sold out. So I just know people are just partying and having a great time. So with that being said, right now, I think all the happenings are out in the parking lot with the tailgate. But the energy is about to get real here in about 45, 50 minutes.
Taj Wilson on Twitter said there were a lot of Steelers fans here today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's always a lot of Steelers fans. I mean, they go everywhere, a lot of them. But I'm anxious to see what it looks like from a Commanders perspective. I know this was a game where a lot of tickets sold, were selling much earlier. So people didn't expect for this to be, a game that Commanders fans would want to go to. So it'll be interesting to see, especially with the towel situation. I thought it was a brilliant idea to give out the burgundy towels because then that way, when the yellow towels are being around and the burgundy towels, it look like. So that is absolutely brilliant. Shout out to the fan whose idea that was, and shout out to the owners for saying, you know what, this is a really good idea. Let's go ahead and do this.
So hold on before I get to, because Shelly has a question. I want to get to Shelly's question. Before I get to Shelly's question, so can you provide us with some of the some of the actives and inactives for today?
So I think the biggest storyline, well, it's a couple storylines, right? We knew on Friday that Brian Robinson Jr. was going to be out again today. And, that was one of the storylines that I had been talking about, with Chris Rodriguez. Will he get signed? Will he not get signed? He did get signed, and no one had to be released, right? Because Colson Yankov, as unfortunate as it is, had to go to IR. So C-Rob was able to take that roster spot because he was at his maximum of 3 for being brought up from the practice squad to the active roster. But this is very much so something to watch in terms of B-Rob's injury. Okay, because this was not a game time decision. If they knew on Friday he couldn't play, and I know a lot of people we're still in the mode of thinking where they're saving people for games. That's not how this staff operates. If they can play, they're going to play. And that's just what it is. Every game is a big game. It is no saving for division, this, that, and the third. They want to win every game. So if they can roll, they're going to rock. So there's that. I think Austin Seibert being out today, that was an injury that went below the radar for sure, right? That right hip not being able to kick is a very big deal. They did sign Zane Gonzalez, so Zane is up today to be the kicker. So there's that, and then of course Andrew Wiley was on the injury report with the shoulder injury. I can tell you, I didn't know it was that serious. I'll be honest. I think because of everything else going on, that might have just flew past me a bit. But in pregame warmups, from what I could see, just from the press box to the field, he looked fine. But then he went on a walk and talk with Dan Quinn. They talked as a group, meaning Andrew, Dan Quinn, the coaches, the offensive coaches, as well as the trainers. And while Andrew is not on the inactive list, he definitely may be only utilized in emergency situations, almost as a backup, potentially. But he's not on the inactive list. But that is definitely something to watch.
All right, yeah. So you just answered Shelly's question. Thanks, Shelly. Thanks for providing that question. So you mentioned Zane Gonzalez being the guy, being the kicker up. Did you get an opportunity to see him kick during practice?
No, because they made sure he kicked after we left.
Okay, I'm about to say okay.
You know me and my kicker reports.
I got a question about Brian Robinson, because it felt like at the time when he was being held out, okay, this wasn't a bad injury, but he needed to rest. I'm now starting to be concerned that he isn't going to be available for Thursday. Is this injury more serious, and this could be like several weeks that he's out?
I don't know. I think that the team, one thing I can say about like Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, they're being as honest as what they know. And it really depends on how he practices. I mean, he was limited Wednesday and Thursday. He did not practice Friday. So it's just one of those things where you really don't know. And, I asked Coach Quinn about Brian Robinson last Monday in his press conference. And I if you hadn't listened to that press conference and listened to his response, I think you really should listen to the response that he had to my question about the conversation he had with B-Rob when he said that, had to tell him that he wasn't going to play him. And he, alluded some more into that overall when it comes to injuries. This team has aspirations to play well into January. So, yes, it's easy to make the decision to, I'm going to play you today. But if playing today impacts playing you in a wild card game, they're not going to do it today. You know what I mean? They're very, unless it's proven that they absolutely need them. And when I say that, they beat Arizona without Austin. And let me be clear about something too, because I just want to be clear about the messaging here. It's a good problem to have when your team is still able to win without your key players. That means you've done a daggone good job at depth. And this team cares a lot about depth. So out of the 3 games, they haven't had all running backs, right? There was the Cardinals game without Austin. There was the Ravens without B-Rob. There was the Bears. Was that the Bears game? What am I even talking about now? Giants game without B-Rob. It was the Giants
the Giants game without B-Rob. Yeah, B-Rob played against Bears.
Okay,
I think.
Oh, can you all hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
They're what, 2-1, right? So they just have to do the right thing. And if they believe, it's 2 things. They can still win, and they're not going to put the player at jeopardy. They are really serious about that thing. Really serious about that thing, which is why you may see some limited reps from Andrew Wiley today. He may not start. He'll be active, but he may not start. They got some really long-term aspirations here, so it's not game. It is game by game. But hey, and someone else was. I know it's been a lot of questions, right? From they're saving it for this game, saving it for that game. Let me tell you something. They want to punch everybody in the mouth, so it's not saving anybody for anything. Right. If you can't play today, you can't play today, and it's a hard decision to make, but. That's what they're doing, So.
Yeah. So I do want to go back to the kicking situation. How Austin Seibert has been amazing. Every kick. So how big of a loss is that not having him into?
I literally said yesterday, I think on a post, I said, hey, listen, Austin Seibert not playing is a bigger deal than B-Rob not playing. That is a very low under the radar issue. Okay, and that is no shade to B-Rob, because B-Rob is freaking amazing. But you all have heard me on press conferences ask the coaches questions about the running back room and Coach Anthony Lynn and the high expectations they have, so that they don't miss a beat if somebody goes down, right? But Austin Seibert is different. That's different. That's a little different. That is a little different.
Got a kicker who's almost automatic. He's at 90%. He's automatic.
Absolutely. And that is a bigger problem than not having B-Rob today.
And you could make the argument, other than Jayden, he might be the most valuable. I mean, we like Lou. Lou was amazing too, but he may be one of the most valuable player on the team, because we saw the impact of not having a good kicker in week 1, right? And then look at the game against the Giants, where he made all of his kicks to win the game for the Commanders, and then even look at the Bears game where we didn't score in the red zone. He made his kicks against the Bears. I mean, most of his kicks. I think he got kicked out blocked. One kick got blocked,
right?
But he made all the kicks up basically against the Bears, and they were all huge kicks. Could you imagine having a kicker that you're not concerned with in those situations, missing a couple kicks? Now we're talking about a different record. He's been one of the more valuable players on this team. So I think, like you said, Candi, it is a huge loss not having him on today.
Yeah, I think I posted one time, maybe it was like later on Friday, like, hey, Commanders fans, I think y'all might want to pay attention to the fact that Austin Seibert is questionable, and they brought in kickers.
Yeah.
Everybody, wait. They brought in kickers. That means he's probably not going to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
Shelly got a question for you, Candi. Shelly said, when did this injury occur? Sunday.
Exactly which play, I'm not certain, but it was definitely against the Giants. And this is hip. This is hip. This is right hip. Listen, you need your hip to kick.
Yeah. One of the other major outs, but we knew it was coming, was Marshawn Lattimore wasn't going to play. We all knew this. How much pressure is on this secondary, knowing that he's coming in, he's going to be starting when it's time, and that's going to change. That's going to change everybody's situation in terms of playing in the secondary.
Last Thursday, Coach Witt answered a similar question. And so he's like, listen, I wanted to be very clear that this team is 5th in like defensive pass. Okay. Like they're doing what they're supposed to do. He's like, listen, they're going to get beat. Like, everybody needs to understand, sometimes these guys are going to get beat. These are elite receivers. It is totally unrealistic for anybody to assume that no one is ever going to run past them or they're never going to catch the football. It's completely unrealistic. He was like, I wanted to be clear. I'm very happy with the second. I'm extremely happy. They're doing what we're asking them to do. Marshawn is an add. Right? So in terms of like concerns or how many issues, let me tell you something. These boys want to ball. If Marshawn gonna help them win or be an addition to, bring them in. Let's roll. There was no sad faces. There was no, unless people acting, they're happy. Whatever they can do to get better and win football games, that's what they want to do. This whole notion of brotherhood is not made up, y'all. It's not made up. It's real. And they are advocating, of course, somebody's going to lose a rep. Somebody's going to lose it, you know what I mean? But they're just that concerned. I mean, going back to the point of even B-Rob, right? Yeah. It's never a bet. Like, no one was more excited for Chris Rodriguez than Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing what you're supposed to do when I'm out. If I'm out, you're supposed to ball out, And this notion, I even had to realize last week, and this is me being very transparent with you all, that's what I do on my show. I do it when I'm here. Fact. I said, what my issue? I don't think I'm not used to this team winning. I'm not used to it. So how I have to plan for game day, have to plan for my show, have to plan when I come on here. I'm like, I'm not used to this.
Because they haven't been 8-2 since the 1980s. So nobody's used to it except Glenn and I, maybe.
Yeah, I'm an old guy here, right?
Hold on, Glenn and I, bro. What you talking? Wait. I mean, thanks for calling me young. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
I'm definitely older than both of y'all by a fair bit.
I mean, you want. I'm gonna go back to. I'm gonna take y'all all the way back. When Coach Witt first got here, I asked him a question about depth, and he was like, when he was on the Green Bay Packers when they won the Super Bowl, they had a gazillion injuries that season. I mean, they were digging into their practice squad, and they still won the Super Bowl. You have to have a next man up, and that kind of language, and seeing it, we just not used to that here. Like, I'm talking about from a fan perspective, from a media perspective, we don't know nothing about that. So it's just happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And so we just don't know.
Birthday, Michael.
So seeing it in real life is like, dang, like this is kind of dope. This is cool. So I mean, we'll see how it shapes out from an offensive line perspective. This team is very smart. These coaching staff is they're brilliant, almost. I mean, we're seeing winning decisions. I see everybody talking about Marshawn Lattimore being hurt, but who else didn't care about that? The Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
So when you have teams like that the Commanders outbid to get them, people talking about, they dropped out because of his money. No, they did not. No, they did not. They got outbid. They got beat. That's what happened.
They could mess with Washington's money, baby. I mean,
it might be.
Boy, you got draft collateral too. That draft collateral was better too.
Yeah, in Kansas City, it's undefeated, and it came down to the Chiefs and the Commanders.
Yeah, true.
But the Ravens were in it too.
That shows you how good Adam Peters can make a deal, but it also shows you how much this team is not in for the rebuild. This team is in repositioning.
It's right now.
This team is not for a rebuild, it's for repositioning. And they're fighting, let's be honest, they're fighting for a number one seed. They're not that far off from a number one seed in NFC East. I mean in NFC. They're fighting for that. So they're repositioning themselves. And down the stretch, we talked about it on the podcast a couple of times, right? If this team gets to this point, what kind of moves will they make in order to assure what they have? They know what they have now, right? At the beginning, it was filling out. Now, if you ain't a believer, you're going to be a believer, right? Because this team is 7-2, and they got to stretch here. Unless the wheels fall off, they should be in the playoffs. Candi, you mentioned something about Chris Rodriguez. What kind of load is going to have today without B-Rob? And also echo, who's carrying the load? Is Nichols, Rodriguez, who gets the ball?
It'll be probably something similar to what we saw last week.
Okay.
But I think it's probably going to depend on how things start shaking out with that right tackle. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to depend. I think it's going to, because they make so many adjustments in game now. Another thing that winning teams do that we not used to seeing, that if somebody gets hot, or if the run game isn't working as strong because there's been some shifts on the offensive line due to injuries, we'll see. But last week I thought they did a really great job of spreading the ball around. You saw quite a bit of Austin. You saw some solid reps from Jeremy McNichols as well as Chris Rodriguez. And the Giants have a very good defense. So I think you're going to see a bit more of that. It's kind of interesting, right? Because when the teams are ready for Brian Robinson Jr., they forget there's some other little fast ones over there too, with some moves. You know, they may not run with as much anger, but if you're not paying attention, they can get away from you rather quickly. So I think something to watch will be the injuries to the offensive line right now, because that is going to be a shift in where they move the football. But it wouldn't shock me if it was very similar to what they did last week against the Giants.
My man Cam had a question for you. He says, "Is this B-Rob injury long term? Because if so, I consider he should go on the IR."
Well, that was one of the things that I had last week when I first was talking about this, right? I mean, you know, you got to pay attention. You know me, I say use your clues on the show.
Facts,
and last week, I pretty much gave the hint. You know, I ain't trying to rain on nobody parade, but I don't think B-Rob playing next week, okay? And so, and it's a short week, so who knows? But I definitely said maybe short-term IR is a possibility, because then that way he comes back after the bye, right? Technically comes back after the bye, and perhaps then the team is still in a good spot and they can make a run. I don't know. It's a reason why they don't want to put him on IR, but you know, I don't believe that it's out of the question.
Okay. My man Paul got a question for you too. He said, Are the practice squad players the scout team players as well?
Sometimes.
Huh?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes? Okay. Sometimes. All right. Let's see. One couple. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, we discussed this, Taj, about Wiley. Oh, hold on. About Wiley. But he said, forgive it. Well, let me read it out. Forgive me if y'all address this, but will the health of our tackles be an issue down the stretch? Health of Lucas, Wiley, and Coleman coming back from a concussion protocol?
Well, Cornelius Lucas is still out, right? Okay. He's still out. Brandon Coleman had a heck of a game last week.
Sure did.
Just when we talk about this rookie class, but he's had a heck of a game. And again, Andrew Wiley was what concerned me, because that was one that flew past me last week, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Now we might start having issues, you guys, because it's a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
Now again, going back to not missing a beat. This is a position group that has had injuries, and they still haven't missed a beat. Very, very good sign in what this coaching staff is doing to prepare this team for injuries, because those things are going to happen.
Shelly had. I know you talked about this a little bit, but he said, "Is Lattimore still hurt, or is he ready to go? Is it just a short week?"
It's a real hamstring injury.
It's real.
Yeah, real hamstring injury. Legit.
Okay. So, all right.
Yeah, if he could play, he'd be playing. I mean, this team definitely ain't they not about saving anybody. If you can go, you going. So.
Yeah, I like Chris, man. I like Chris Rodriguez in this game. I ain't gonna. He's
gonna have so do I.
A lot of growth. Rodriguez, a lot of growth. He doesn't even look like he did last year.
Yeah,
he's done very well.
Yeah, what are you saying, George?
I was just gonna say I'm with you, Wole, because I think to try to slow down J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt, they're gonna have to run the ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, Candi, give me your keys for Commanders win.
Hey, I know we're talking about running the ball and everything. I mean, I think the team offensively still no mistakes. This is a Steelers defense that create turnovers, right? They create problems. Ball hawking skills, forcing fumble skills, you name it, they have it. So the continued consistency around no turnovers is going to have to be key today. They're going to have to, Jayden's going to have to be really quick at getting the football out. Almost precise, almost very much like mistake-free football. I'm a person that tends to like to think, okay, when somebody's coming off a bye, you might catch them slipping, but the Steelers don't really fall to that. Mike Tomlin is rather successful after a bye. So I think They got to stay true to their offense. It might help them. It might do them some good too to start getting Luke McCaffrey involved.
Okay.
A little bit more from Luke. A little bit more from Diami. You see Diami make impact plays.
He does, man. He does.
And shout out to Diami. And I don't want anybody to miss that very important point that he makes very impactful plays. But today is a day to get the ball out fast, to definitely be creative when possible, for sure. Defensively, I'm going to say, if you have anybody who's going to help you figure out how to beat Russell Wilson, you have them on the Commanders defense, and that is one of the captains for today, Bobby Wagner.
Facts. That's good. Play with him. That's a good point. Very good point.
Knows how to beat Russell Wilson. Why? Because he played with him for so long.
True. Facts.
So this will be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think all great points. I did want to ask you something before I let you go. Before I get your prediction, we'll let you go. It's still about Lattimore.
Yeah.
It's more of like internal pressure because everybody's a competitor. Like everybody's a competitor. These guys, they may be like a brotherhood, but they compete, right? And everybody wants to be on the field for the majority of the time. Do you feel like this game, what happens in this game, can dictate? And if Lattimore is healthy for the Eagles game, right? Say if certain people have a rough outing today, does that dictate? And within the three, would that dictate who gets burned next week? On a Thursday with Lattimore if he's healthy Thursday.
It's such a short week. If they played on Sunday, I would say yes. I would lean more toward yes. But with it being such a short week, and Thursday being a division game. Now, here's the other thing, too. I keep talking about it being a division game. Nobody over there cares whether it's a division game or not.
Gotcha.
But I see your point, and it would have to see. We'll have to see. Now, if today ends up being a show. The reason why I say like an ish show, I almost said the word, but if it ends up being an ish show for some reason, I almost said that. I mean, look, the feelings that Donna tell you, I've been in rare form this morning.
No, because I was just saying, like, because a lot of folks. I mean, I'm one of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not the biggest Benji dude. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm not. Some people on this channel aren't either, but. He's had a rough couple of weeks.
I'm not either. I mean, but he's a nice guy, and he's done the best.
He's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
This is like the best season he's had. Like seriously, like I mean, I know this comparatively speaking, but it is like the best season he's had. That doesn't mean he's the best. It's just the best season he's had comparatively speaking.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I just know if he's had he's in a rough couple of weeks, and I'm just saying like, and Noah's been playing good. Mikey's been playing good. And I know he's had that stamp of being like the guy that so-called is like cornerback number one. But if you're gonna have Lattimore now, who can be quarterback number one, and the other two guys are playing really good football, is it justified moving one of those dudes out of that rotation?
Definitely gonna move them. I mean, let's be clear. They're gonna definitely get moved. I mean, they're gonna get moved anyway.
Yeah, true.
So,
they're
gonna get moved anyway. But I think But to your point, I think today is a telltale sign when I mentioned that the Steelers defense can create havoc. This Commanders defense has to create havoc because they're still not getting those 3+ turnovers a game. They're still not really getting interceptions. So this is an opportunity to get their hands on the football and get the ball back to Jayden Daniels and that offense. That's what's going to have to. As much as I would like to dismiss this game because it's not a division game, the reality is because it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are tried and true, going to always have their stamp on this league. They have to create havoc. This is the game that will get them respect.
I agree with you. Okay. So give me your prediction real quick before we let you go.
Oh, I'm gonna bet against them. I'm keep betting against them. I told you that. I admitted that the other day.
You did say that. All right, so you already heard it. So that's you doing.
It got out that I said they was only going to win 7 games, and they was like, "Dang!" I'm like, "Hey, working." So I'm just gonna keep with it. And so I was like, "Yeah, I bet on get better. I heard you bet against us every week, and do, and it's working." So I'm gonna keep doing that.
That's right.
Keep doing it. Keep pissing them off to make them angry so they can play well. That's how I look at it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Give them that motivation. Hey, Candi, thanks for being up. Hey, Candi, thanks for being on. Before we let you go, how can folks catch your content, and also how can they catch you on social media?
Yeah, definitely you all follow me on X at CWall SE, and please make sure you're subscribed to Bowie TV. You can find it at Bowie_TV on YouTube. We got all the Commanders. If you know any Ravens fans, we got all that on there too. We got all everything, and there's other shows on there as well. So from those two places, definitely this season, that's where you can catch all of my content.
Yeah, please do. Hey, Candi, thanks for being on.
Thank you, Candi.
All right, you all welcome. All right, talk to y'all later.
All right,
bye.
Talk to you later. All right, bye.
Oh, when she said he was a nice guy, I just couldn't help but start laughing.
No, you know
she actually means it. You didn't mean it.
You know what that means? Somebody says you're a nice guy. They don't talk about when you're bad at something. When they first preference you're a nice person. That's how you know. Like whatever you're doing, if the first thing is like that person's a nice person, then it's like, oh.
Y'all are the worst.
That's why Benjamin saying, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Oh, you're just terrible.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I'm sure he is, man. Sure. I mean, but I do like. I think that what I like about Candi was like more direct. He was like, yeah, he's gonna have to watch his steps, but some things will change. But yeah, I totally believe that. I believe that whatever, not just him. Who if someone has a bad outing today, and then Lattimore say he's healthy for Thursday, it's gonna dictate something. Like, I don't include Emmanuel Forbes because he's just not getting. He don't get playing time anyway, so he's not in that equation to me. But the other three, like between St. Jude's, Noah, and Mikey, yeah, and I'm only going off track record right now. The other two have been playing pretty well. So there's only one dude that needs to step up. You know what I mean? We're gonna be fair. There's one dude that needs to step up. So, but yeah. But Candi gave us great insight, great details. I appreciate it. So it's my man Taj had his keys for Commanders victory. He says, run the ball to neutralize Watt. I think George said that. Pressure up the middle. Wilson is not the playmaker he once was outside the pocket. Win the turnover game. Totally agree with that, Taj. Totally agree.
Do you think, even though he's experienced Wilson, that they're going to we might see some blitzes against him because he's not as mobile as he once was?
He's more of a pocket passer. So I would blitz what he's more of a guy that likes to stay in the pocket now. So I would rush I would rush Russ. So yeah, I would definitely do that. But you got to be careful. They just got Mike Williams from the Jets. They got George Pickett. These are guys who are good deep ball players who can make contested catches. So got to be careful. Russ does throw the deep ball well. I'll give him flowers. He does throw the deep ball well. So they're gonna have to be careful how they bring pressure. But the first thing, to be honest with you, the first thing they need to do is take away the run. If they can make Russ one-dimensional, they can beat the Steelers easily. It's all about making the Steelers one-dimensional. You got to stop the run. If you don't stop the run, then Russ is more dangerous. I'm gonna be real with you. But if you stop the run, you put them in third and long, then you're fine. You'll be fine in this game. But if you get into third and short a lot, then we're going to be in what everybody talks about, a tough game. But if this team can find a way to take away Najee, in my opinion, the first key for me is to take away the run game for the Steelers. You take away the Steelers run game, I feel like Washington's in decent shape. You know what's wild too? Like we're talking about Wiley in such a positive way too. Like he's hurt.
I know.
Everybody that's a credit to his improvement. Like we could say, dang, we gotta have Wiley out there. That's credit to him.
We wasn't saying that last year.
I wasn't.
I wasn't saying. That's what I wanted to touch on because we talked about Wiley after the first game. I mean, after the Tampa game, people were like, "Yo, we need to get rid of this dude."
Yeah.
After the first game, it was so bad, and then we saw the improvement. And like you said, well, today we're talking about, hey, we really need this guy.
Yeah, Shelly said, Shelly's like, so no chance Lattimore plays versus the Eagles. I'm hoping he does. I think there's a chance. Here. In my opinion, I think there's a chance. I got how many games did he miss with the Saints?
I think he missed the last two, didn't he?
Oh, he should be. I mean, it's a short week though. It's a short week. I would say this, Shelly. If he doesn't play against the Eagles, he's definitely playing the week after. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. I mean, hamstrings are tricky. Everyone knows that.
You guys talked about real quick. I want to go back to something that you said earlier about corner play, and I had to go back and look at it. Forbes didn't have any snaps against the Giants last.
Yeah, he doesn't play. Right? Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Mikey ended up having 62 snaps. St. Jude had 64. Quan Martin had 64 snaps last week against the
what did Mikey? What Noah have? That's the one. Not
Noah had 54 snaps.
Yeah. See, yeah.
Noah had 54 snaps. So that's a telltale sign there. Who's playing, who's not, and who they've given up on, and who they haven't given up on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't equate. That's what I said. I don't put Forbes in the discussion. That's not a thing to me.
Yeah.
Like it's only 3 dudes. So like they play 3 corners out, right? 3 corners are out. So when Lattimore coming in, I don't think Forbes is not even a thing to me. It's it's the 3 on the field. So to me, it's between those 2. So whatever happens with St. Juice it is what it is. Like that's the thing. St. Juice, Noah, Mikey. They drafted Mikey and he's playing well. I doubt Mikey's losing burn. Noah's a dude that Dan Quinn likes. He brought Dan Quinn. The Dan Quinn likes. He has a relationship with him, and he's played well in the slot. They don't owe Benji nothing. They traded for Lattimore because they needed Matt Lattimore. They needed Lattimore. They don't owe St. Juice anything. The other 2 is there is a relationship with the other 2. It is what it is. So, and they're playing better football. That's all I'm saying. 54 said St. Jude's, Mikey, and Noah can all play inside and outside. Once Lattimore is active, it will be matchup based. Mikey will be number 2 base on snap, but all 3 will get used inside and outside. I mean, I feel like you use the most productive player. That's how I look at it. It's not about anybody's feelings and mismatching. Use the most productive player. I think Noah is a former first-round pick who's now playing really good football.
I also say this: if it's all about brotherhood, nobody's gonna get mad.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's truly about brotherhood, everybody understand the game. It's business, right? It's about business, and the business is we put the best 11 guys on the field. Facts. Other guys be there for support, and we see that this week in other positions and other areas. So there's no different from the corner position.
Yeah, Watt scares me too, Shelly.
No, he's definitely the best defensive player in football, right? Watt.
I'm telling you why I'm not that scared to watch, because they get the ball out quick with the screen game, things like that. And most times you run at him, you neutralize him. I'm not saying he's not going to get his, right? He may get 1 or 2, but he's not going to change the pace of the game.
I'll say this much: Montez Sweat has some pressure on Jayden, and if he can do that, you should be scared of Jayden. You should be TJ Watt.
Montez had pressure on him, but and Jayden was hurt. He could have got away from Marshall.
Jayden ain't super healthy. I mean, he's getting better, but that's ribs. No, look, this is TJ. This is TJ Watt. I'm with you, but this is TJ Watt. This is like George said. Arguably, the last 2 years has been like the best defensive player. Like we gotta.
I'm giving him credit. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying I think the game plan is going to be make sure the ball is out, that he does not beat you. The ball will be out of Jayden's hands.
Yeah, if that's right, it's going to be hard to move the football on Pittsburgh, because if you're going to be only playing and passing in a 10-yard box, I mean, you can't. Hard. I mean, my biggest thing for Jayden and this team today is it goes back to what Candi said. The Steelers defense creates chaos that create turnovers. Understand that sometimes a good play is a punt. To use an old Jim Tressel used to say that, old Ohio State coach. Sometimes it's good to just punt the ball. So what I want, honestly, I hope is, yes, we want to get the ball out, but if you can't because everybody's covered, eat the ball and take the sack. Because sometimes that's going to stink and we're going to get frustrated. But a punt is an okay play today, because in my opinion, this can be a low-scoring game. I kind of feel like it's going to be 17-14. That's the score I've got for it. Not to get beyond that, but I think this can be a low-scoring game today. I think the defenses have the chance to dominate in this game.
The one thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see Justin Fields come in this game because he's been able to eat the
because his running dimension.
His running dimension against the Commanders defense, right? I'd rather Russell Wilson stay and play the whole game. than see Justin Fields. I don't want to see the running quarterback aspect of it.
Yeah, I understand that.
I agree with that. I agree with that too. I do agree with that. I think the running element is scarier to me. We saw what Daniel Jones did running against us. I mean, God, we're talking about Justin Fields, who runs a 4.3. Yeah, who runs a 4.3 and is big and is a strong dude running a 4.3.
And that is where it probably is worse to have Russell Wilson today, because they're not going to be doing RPOs and having Russell Wilson pull the ball. That's not happening.
Yeah, not so. But but real quick, let's get into. So I mean, you're pretty much. What are your keys? I put my key. Glenn, what's your keys?
My key today is to protect the football. That's the first thing. If you're the offense, protect the football. No fumbles, no strips, secure it. Also, stay in front of the sticks, right? You don't want to be behind the sticks against this Pittsburgh defense so they can open up and put out an all-out blitz, right? You don't want to stay behind this. You want to keep the defense guessing. Stay in your manageable, your second and threes or your third and fours, something like that, whether you can either run or pass situations. You don't want to end up in third and nines and thirds and tens and things like that nature. That's when the TJ Watts can eat, because they know what you're going to do, right? They know where you're going to go at. And then try to get as much as you can out of this running game with Eckler, with Chris Rodriguez, with McNichols. Run the football, right? Stay in the, get over 150 yards rushing combined by the three. I don't care, right? Stay in that 150-yard rushing mark, control the clock, and then I think they get an opportunity to win this football game.
I'm planning on finishing off a bottle of Russell's Reserve Bourbon as we're watching on the field today.
I mean, I hope so.
I asked Candi, did she see was Sierra out there? I was wondering if Sierra was out there.
There's been a lot of hating on Russell Wilson, but it's undeniable that Steelers offense got better with him in there.
Oh, I agree. No. I'm with you. I'm with you, George.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be a shootout, but they've shown that they're capable of scoring, in the high 20s, low 30s, which means with Russell Wilson, they're actually a threat to the Ravens and the Chiefs, who we think are the best teams in that conference. So I think I do want to caution that, Washington fans. Everybody wrote the Russell Wilson's wash narrative the last 2 years. He may not be what he once was, but I'm not sure he's exactly washed either.
Right.
Oh, they playing future pregame. They should. They should.
Deluxe.
I love that one. They should. Kingsbury got to call a lot of fast pass plays to keep Watt in check. Yeah, they definitely know huddle. I think no huddle try to get him tired.
Well, and I like, and Michael Underwood, I like that. I think tempo is something that they can use. I'll tell you what. These wide receivers, something that hasn't been talked a lot about, except I think by us and other Washington people that watch this team regularly, how good they've been blocking. This could be a big day for that, because if you're right, if Glenn's right and you're right, Michael, about they got to get the ball out of Jayden Daniels' hands. We're going to be seeing a lot of wide receiver screens and bubble screens and these kinds of things. Those receivers are going to have to block today.
All right, so let's get into our predictions, man. I'm starting with you, George. Give me a score prediction.
I went for 17-14 Washington. I do think we're going to end up in the Steelers kind of game, which is worrying because they usually win low-scoring games like that. But my hope is that Jayden Daniels is going to face some adversity today like he has in some other games, and he's going to respond, especially late in the game when we need him to. You think about that game last week. And yes, it was a great play call, and Olamide was wide open. Olamide Zaccheaus was wide open, but having the stones to make that call, to put the ball in Jayden Daniels' hands and throw it in the last 2 minutes to win you the game, essentially. Although they had to do some stuff after that. I'm hoping that, or I'm thinking that we might need some Jayden Daniels magic down the stretch to win this thing, and I'm hoping he's going to deliver again. Oh wow! And I guess Carolina won in overtime.
Yes,
the Giants.
I was going to mention that.
I'm happy for Bryce Young. That's what I'm talking about, Bryce. Good job, Bryce. I'm proud. I'm happy for that kid. I root for Bryce Young.
I was going to say the Giants are going for Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter, baby.
Dang,
they might get Sanders. That's what they should do. That's what everybody should be trying to get Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders. These other quarterbacks.
Oh no,
they've shown you.
Ward. Nah, Ward.
No, Ward is a turnover machine. I'm not having
Miami. They got to get Ward from Miami.
No. Ward is a turnover machine. He ain't where Shedeur is.
Yeah,
he might be the next best quarterback. He's here. Shedeur's here.
Shedeur can handle the pressure of being in New York as well.
Yeah.
You think so? Well, if he can handle that, then okay. If he's that kind of guy, I'll buy that.
Shedeur is. My score 21-17 Washington. I think 21-17 Washington. I think Washington does score.
I think the same score you, bro. 21-17. All right, Shelly.
Hey, Shelly, what's up? Great minds think alike, Shelly. Great minds think alike. But I do think 21-17. I think the defense is going to cost a turnover on Russ. And I think this defense has played well in the last 4 games. You got to go back to this defense. This defense has played well, and I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. And I think the defense is going to be great. I do think Washington and Jayden Daniel edge his team out. Again, we get those wins, though. We get the wins.
So, yeah, so my score is 31-13 Commanders.
Wow. If they beat the Steelers like that.
I'm like that. I don't respect the Steelers offense. I feel like, and I don't really respect Russ like that either. This is more respect more towards, and I'll be real with you, it's more respect towards Jayden in this offense. I feel like they're going to have to score with us. They're going to have to score with us. And they can't. If
this offense gets 31 against the Steelers, we're going to be losing it in here. Oh my Lord!
There's teams out here who moved the ball against this defense that weren't that good. Like you talked about, you made that argument about like the Bears and how teams can move the ball. There are teams who have moved the ball on this team. Bad teams who have moved the ball.
31 though. I mean
31. So I'm giving you 31 because of how good Jayden. Look how good Jayden and this offense is going to show. They're going to have to score with Washington. They're going to have to score with Washington. And that defense, the defense plays the way they need to play. They're going to have a bunch of 3-and-outs. The Steelers will have a bunch of 3-and-outs, and Washington's offense will do just enough, just like they did against the Browns, just enough to turn up. So I'm giving you 31-13 Washington.
Well, I would be looking at what the Ravens do again when they play the Steelers and say, well, if the Ravens can't do that, then maybe Washington is the best offense in the NFL.
The Ravens, they haven't played the Ravens yet, right?
That's what I'm saying is they haven't played the Ravens yet. But it's like if they put 31 on the Steelers, who's probably almost by acclamation, it's either them or the Chiefs are the best defense in the NFL. 31 against them would be woo.
I would love that, but I'm saying I'm here to shock the world, but that's what I'm going.
Yeah, I'm with Shelly. I'd be shocked too. 31.
I mean, I'm not.
Knock me over with a feather. You could.
Hey, I'm just saying,
man,
it could happen.
Shock the world, dude.
Shock the world, man. Shock the world. That's what we're about.
The world.
That's what we're about. But yeah, I'm gonna get my prediction. Hopefully it pans out. I feel like I've been doing all right though. You know what I'm saying? Like when I picked the Commanders. The juju's working. We all working together. You know what I'm saying? It's great. You know what I'm saying? So it is. Hey, give me your Hey George, I'm gonna start with you. Give me your fantasy player for today's game.
I think my fantasy player for today's game has got to be. Oh boy, you know what? It's got to be Chris Rodriguez for me. I'm gonna go there because I was so impressed with him last week. But and of course, it's not going to just be running the football. He's going to be huge in pass protection. But yeah, Chris Rodriguez getting us the tough yards. Maybe he's the guy that gets the ball near the goal line and in the 3rd and shorts that we are going to need to convert to win this game. So Chris Rodriguez for me.
Yours, Glenn, your fantasy player.
I'm gonna say this is a Zach Ertz game. I think Zach Ertz is to me, this would be the game for Zach Ertz. And I think my fantasy player for the day is going to be Zach Ertz. I think Terry's going to get his, Jayden's going to get his. But I think the guy that we're going to have big numbers today will be Zach Ertz.
I'm going to put my man Delect score out there. He says Washington 27-17. Shelly, her fantasy players are Terry and JD. I think Terry's going to eat too.
It's tough secondary.
I'm going to go with I think Terry can eat regardless. This is a tough one actually. So you picked Chris. That's the one I was going to choose. No, I'll go a different route. Zach Ertz a good one too. I will go with JD's easy. JD's gonna fry. So I think, and everybody's gonna start JD. I did Terry last week, and Terry got money, and I was right about that. Terry gonna fry too. I'm gonna tell you, Terry gonna fry. He's going to fry. You know what? I'm gonna go with De'Ami Brown. I'm gonna say De'Ami.
Oh, okay.
De'Ami Brown gonna fry. De'Ami Brown's gonna have a big play.
You know what?
Yeah,
it's a great
Washington defense. I want to go there too. That's a good
one. That's a good one, Deluxe.
I wanted to go to defense deluxe, but I went to defense last week.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what, Wole? If I hope you're right more than the other two of us for this reason. The best way to really open this Steelers defense up is to hit them down the field. It's just a question of, are we going to give Daniels the time and Brown the time to make that connection, for Brown to run that route and for Daniels to get him the ball?
But the thing about it is, it's like, and we're gonna get ready to end the show because we got to actually watch the actual game. But the thing about it is that we are omitting the one key factor about the pass rush. Even with the pass rush, they haven't seen a runner like Jayden Daniels.
Right.
So all that pass rush, you got to be very disciplined. When you're a sack artist, you are sack heavy. Like your mind isn't about gap contain or whatever. Staying 9 times out of 10, you are trying to get the quarterback. So when it happens, you will get out of your rush lanes. So if you get out your rush lanes, your spy, who would probably be is it Queen? Would it be Queen? I guess.
Queen.
Possibly, yeah.
He can fly past Queen. So I'm just saying, like, I'm just telling you, like, when you are pressure defense, like even the Ravens who are pressure defense, you saw it. Like he still had running lanes. You gotta be you gotta be committed to your lanes. When you got pressure, when you're a team that wants to get up the field and get pressure, it's a problem.
That's what I said. No, I'm gonna add to your point. That's what I said when we had a Chase Young, when we had a Montez Sweat. I always would say running quarterback. That's why running quarterback scary, because when you have defensive ends who are used to running upfield, or you got offensive linemen who can block them out, you create those lanes and you open the gaps. And so we'll see some of that today.
Yeah, you can you will get them down a couple times, but you will get there will be a big play being gashed. It is what it is. So that's the one thing about having Jayden that makes it makes life a lot easier in terms of protecting him. It's what he can do with his legs. It is what it is. So. But folks, don't forget to tune into our post-game show directly after the game.
Yes.
We'll be on YouTube and IG Live. We'll also be streaming on the Urban Sports Scene X account as well. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. If you are watching this, well, you're watching this on YouTube. I appreciate y'all for rocking with us. But if you're watching this from a different platform, hey, go to our YouTube channel real quick and also subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel. Also, folks in this chat, like this video. That does wonders for our algorithm. So just continue to like this video. It puts us up there in where people want to search for Commanders content. So like this video as well if you enjoyed the content. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. Jitty, deuces. Your mob is out.